Work. Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps. It is I, your host with the most, Renaissance man, who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the Yard Streams for another edition of Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And it's not just me, Patty P, here in the Yard Streams. I am joined as always by the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello. You know what's really weird? I posted a TikTok about how like no one wants to see Hulk Hogan in 2025. And there were comments from people who were like, what are you talking about? And one person commented, the NWO is back, baby. And I'm like, are you aware?
That person has zero in like awareness of what's going on, or they're just trying to make a really bad joke. That's the only two options there.
Well, it's also like red and yellow is not NWO.
I think the opposite of
Nash and Hall weren't there. Hall can't be there. So what are we talking about? Like I'm just ignoring it, but I was like, bro, nah.
It just really shows you how tone deaf some people are. It really does. That sucks.
Very weird.
That's one of the weird things. I don't want to go too much into Hulk Hogan because he may or may not be on my list of rosebuds or lemons. We're new peeps in the chat. They might not know my allegiance. But yeah, it's been a great week of wrestling so far. I mean, there's a shit ton of news, really, a lot of things to talk about, and a lot of stuff going online that's being rumored that Sara and I have to discuss, Sara, because I really haven't got the chance to talk not only to you, but really to anyone today. I was very busy today driving around the great city of Boston. So
I'm so jealous.
I get home.
It's always this time of year where I get like, I swear, this time of year is when people say they get seasonal depression because they're somewhere that gets snow or they're like, whatever. First of all, I don't believe in seasonal depression. I think it's just a farce. But anyway, yeah, I think I have seasonal depression, but the opposite of what people say. Like people get it because, oh, it's gloomy, it's snowy, it's dark.
Yeah, you get it because it's too hot because that's your shit year round. That's not sunny. Seasonal depression. No, yeah, that's not seasonal depression. That's just like.
Well, but what I'm saying is like I have like the opposite of it because it's like every fucking day is sunny. Like there's just no variation here.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah, and I've realized that people who live in Arizona, that is something that they hate because people think that. A lot of people, especially from like the Northeast and the Pacific Northwest, will move south because it's warm and it's sunny, and they think, okay, going to somewhere that's like the complete opposite of where they're from is going to just like cure everything and like make them happy. Yeah, but it's not. So I'm glad in a way to see that people who have lived here for a long time or even lived here their whole life are like, yeah, no, like I hate that it's sunny every day because there's literally no variation. No. Sunny every day is not as great as people think it is. Like, I don't mean that you have to go somewhere where it snows and whatever, but when you literally wake up every single day and it's sunny every single day and you barely get any change in temperature besides obviously the summer when it's 100 plus degrees every day.
God,
it's not fun. It's really not.
No, it does not seem fun, Sara. It's the right now I'm feeling it on the extreme side of cold. It's just too cold to do anything. Like I go outside. Thank God I got my gloves on, my Lululemon gloves, and I'm walking around bundled up. But like, holy shit! If I had to be outside for more than I would say 10 minutes at a time, I would be losing my mind. Like I can't. I used to be so accustomed to the cold. Like I never got cold. I could just walk around my house with, sweatpants and a t-shirt and have the window cracked in January. Now I can't. Like this is a flannel. It's flannel Friday. Like I don't know. It is getting a little old. I do like seasons. So, I mean,
That's what I
for you,
miss.
it's for you to, you not experience that does suck.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like if you looked outside, you wouldn't know. Like
it's very dark out right now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's the other thing that pissed me off. It's dark at 5:30.
Yeah.
I hate this time of year. That's where my seasonal depression comes in. It's not because of the goddamn weather or seasons. It's because it's dark at like 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I'm driving around or I'm down here in the shenanigan shack and it's like, okay, what time is it? It feels late. I'm exhausted. And you look and it's 6:15.
Yeah.
You're like what? How? I can't be this tired at 6:15.
Yeah. We get dark earlier than that. It's like 5. It's like an hour before that. Yeah.
What? It does suck. It does suck. Well, let's talk about stuff that doesn't suck. Hearing from the peeps. Was popping Nathaniel. I hope Sara becomes my coach after Reddick. You're more football though.
Yeah.
You're more football.
Yeah.
I trust you running the Patriots more than the Lakers.
Probably. You're right.
Sophia's here and has an inside joke with her boyfriend. It's a thing. Awesome. We love here. And then we know we play the Lakers this month. If you think they're going to get blown out, Nathaniel, you're wrong. Ayo, what's poppin', David? I'm not going to talk about the learning tree or Cope today. I think that would just be a cool match, like cool for nostalgia purposes. Like it would be fine, but like I'm not running over there to my lounger to go watch it immediately. Like it's not like another guy who returned to AEW television this week that I am very excited about. The bad guy is here. Romero, we are doing lemons and rosebuds.
Yes.
So don't you worry. No,
that is a lemon, though.
That is the last time he didn't do anything cool. Maybe 30. He fucked up 30. He called it the wrong name. He called it like the Superdome.
Well, yeah. Yes.
Like, cool. That was great for nostalgia purposes, but I don't care. All right.
The only Hogan I acknowledge is Hollywood Hogan, but even then, the black and white Hollywood Hogan.
Yeah. By association.
I don't appreciate either when like I look for NWO merch and stuff, and they always put him like dead center, like front and center.
His biggest name, biggest face. That's why.
But I still don't think that he needs to always be front and center when we're talking about the NWO. Like he wasn't even the first one in the NWO. You know what I mean? Like I think we can kind of like rotate who's in the middle, but I don't know.
I like to put Big Daddy Cool in the middle.
Don't disrespect.
I know who you're gonna say. I know who you want to put in the middle. But like maybe I would like to see a little Big Daddy Cool in the middle.
I said rotate. I didn't say only put Scott in the middle.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
The Silver Dome. Yeah, he called it the Silver Dome. That's what it was.
Oh yeah.
I acknowledge Kira. Damn right we do. Kira Hogan was nice in AEW. I think she's still there. She did some stuff early AEW when I was watching. But no, she can ball. Speaking of things that ball, or maybe are circular, it's time for our favorite segment of the week.
Be a lemon, be a rosebud.
Don't be a lemon, Sara. Be a rosebud. It is time for our lemons and rosebuds of the week. Lemons being our lead. Oh, Jesus Christ! You can't be doing that. Yeah, that just. All right. Give me my pen back. All right. Lemons being our least favorite things, rosebuds are our favorite things of the week. Sara, Vinci took my
breath away.
You said it, not me. So
Mm.
you say what your favorite thing in wrestling was this week.
I would say it was seeing Tiffany Stratton finally cash in her Money in the Bank briefcase to become the new WWE Women's Champion on SmackDown. I think it was they did it really well. First of all, I think that she had the briefcase for a good amount of time, which also kudos to me because I told you that she would not cash in until
Right.
after December.
You fucking witch. Like,
you're welcome. And I think that they built up to it really well because we know that in the past, historically with the women's Money in the Bank, they haven't had many women hold it beyond a day. So when they actually let them hold it for a prolonged period of time, the stories haven't always been great. So I'm glad that they let her bedazzle it and like create her own briefcase.
market it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. And I'm sad because they're sold out, so I can't even like buy one. Anyway.
They have at Mania.
Yeah, but I don't know if they'll have hers.
No. They would do hers. No, because it's part of this year.
Yeah, maybe.
They're gonna come on. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll see. So I like how they did that with her. I like the development between her and Nia. Like, I think that they built up to this tension between them and Tiffany finally turning on her really well. I mean, even having Candice LeRae involved was a good move, I feel. And
sneaky, very underrated. I'd agree.
And the way that she went about cashing in general, I just liked it. I liked that she hit her move, that the crowd was completely behind her, that they gave her the pyro. Like, I think that her and Nia can have a pretty solid feud if that's the direction that they go in at first. And then obviously now, something that we've all been talking about for a long time, and especially since she won Money in the Bank, is it looks like Endgame is Tiffany versus Charlotte at WrestleMania, and that will be incredible as long as Tiffany retains. Like, I want to see that match, and I think the match is going to be fire, obviously, but I think we need to make sure that we're pushing these younger girls, and Tiffany deserves to have her WrestleMania moment over Charlotte. Like,
1,000%.
So.
That's I agree with that statement. When it comes to Tiffany and Nia having a feud, that's going to be very underrated. I feel they had a long story that's built up, and the Candice LeRae edition from the comment, like the naked eye, seems just like, okay, a way to get her on television. Like, cool. But it did throw a nice wrench into this where it made it logical.
Well, it's
Tiffany to actually cash in the Money in the Bank.
It's similar, I would say, to like Liv and Raquel on Raw. Like, it made sense for her to enlist somebody else, and then that kind of played into her feud with Rhea. So this is the same thing. Like, Tiffany can go after Candice now too.
Tiffany can go after. Well, Candice is gonna want to go. Oh, let me back up. With this Nia and Tiffany feud ensuing, there is an opportunity for Candice to branch off and have her own WWE title match for Tiffany, which would be just to have the WWE women's title match alone is a huge achievement, accomplishment for Candice LeRae to have. So I'm very happy with the direction of this feud.
It's unfortunate if they really do bring Charlotte back and have her win the Rumble and that's the way that they have her face Tiffany, because I think they could have a really good elimination chamber match to figure out who is going to face Tiffany. You know, like, I don't think it would be a bad idea for whoever the women's Rumble winner is to pick Rhea. Like, I don't think that's bad, but the problem is there's no obvious answer there. So it feels like, okay, yeah, Charlotte makes the most sense, right? Like, because we don't know the direction that they're going to be going in with Rhea at this point, and most people don't want to see her versus Liv revisited, nor do they want to see Liv win the Royal Rumble to then face her at Mania. So it just feels like the obvious is Charlotte, which kind of sucks because I would really enjoy seeing like Candice LeRae and maybe like Nia and Charlotte and whoever, you know, they could put in the Elimination Chamber. That would be, I feel like, a really good match. But
I think the Royal Rumble winner is pretty open at this moment. So
yeah, I'm just trying to think of like if the women's match is going to be Tiffany Charlotte, then one way to do that is Charlotte wins the Rumble, returns at the Rumble, wins. But if they don't do that and they're going to say, okay, the women's Rumble winner is going to face the women's world champion, that's just when I'm like, I don't know who that's going to be yet because we don't know what's going on with Rhea. So that's the thing, is I feel like all the like both the men and women's winners are up in the air right now because you don't know exactly what the plans are for everybody at this point, which is nice because at this point last year we kind of did know. You knew that Cody was going to face Roman until The Rock decided he needed to, and you kind of knew where everything else was going. But at this time, it's like, okay, we kind of there's a lot of question marks, which is nice, I think, in a way.
It's okay to have question marks at this time. Gives you a reason to be excited for the Royal Rumble. So I'm for it. I love it. My Rosebud, all right. So my Rosebud, one of them is Hulk Hogan getting booed out of the stadium or out of the arena, excuse me, on the Netflix debut, and the backlash or whatever you want to call it that has ensued with people, you know, the reaction, whatnot. That was awesome. Awesome. And then I will take this time to say this is my Rosebud of the week because something great for the channel, something great for me. But after Sara and I go live here, I will be going into a private stream, a yard of streams, for an interview with my dude over in MLW, the victorious Brett Ryan Gosling, for an interview that will be posted tomorrow on the channel, right before the King of a Coliseum. They don't call it's. I don't want to say pay-per-view because it's just on YouTube, but their next big show.
Yeah, but it's kind of like that's what they're treating it like.
It's their PLE. It's a PLE for them. King of the Coliseum tomorrow. It's what cool time? Name. It's great design. I like the layout and the visual of it, whatnot. I want to get the time of this in case anyone. Yeah, okay. So tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, on the MLW YouTube. Go check that out. My dude BRG and the Rogue Horsemen are he's in the Gravity Gamble match, which I'm not gonna lie, Sara, seems like it's gonna be a very cool concept. The best way to describe it here is Money in the Bank mixed with the Feast or Fired from TNA. Remember how TNA had that 4 briefcase setup, Money in the Bank style, where you either got a title shot, a tag team title shot, an X Division title shot, or you were fired. It's similar to that, but only one of the briefcase has something. I don't know. That's why you got to go check out the interview tomorrow. I'll tweet out the time of it because I don't know what time I'm going to be posting it. That's why I go check out that interview and hear from my dude BRG, because it's good to have him back on the show. You know, he was our first guest here, and I'm going to say it right now, Sara, he will not be the only special guest on the show, on the No Nights Off Super Show come 2025. I will say that. So that's definitely my Rosebud, because that's the most excited I've been all week about anything. So, Sara, the excitement has to go down, because when you're up, there's only one place to go down. What was the least favorite thing you saw? Your least favorite thing you saw in wrestling this week?
I feel like this is controversial because I have been getting absolutely obliterated on YouTube comments from CM Punk fans. So I feel like I shouldn't be touching CM Punk stuff, but Here I am. So Seth Rollins did an interview with Chris Van Vliet this week, and of course, people are taking tidbits from that interview and running with it, even some without context or not the full quote, whatever. And one of the things that I've seen on a lot of the aggregator accounts on Twitter is talking about why he feels that Punk was really selfish when he left in 2014. And people are misreading the quote, or they're picking and choosing what they're reading and how they're interpreting what he said. And I don't think what he said was wrong. So the main gist of it is that he left when he was on top, and he was fortunate because he had the luxury of being able to kind of just leave, and there was no real alternative at the time. I mean, you could say TNA, but obviously
No, yeah.
based
the
on
only one.
Seth's interpretation, that was not real competition or an alternative at the time. But because of the amount of money that Punk had made, obviously he was able to leave and not have to worry about not being able to feed himself and his family. And so he talks about in the interview as well that he had reached out a couple times to Punk throughout the years, never heard back. And he thinks that the selfish part is not that he left necessarily. It's that he left and expected all of his friends to do the same, like in solidarity with him. And people are not understanding that part, and why Seth is 100% right. That is selfish, because he talks about, I wasn't a CM Punk in 2014. Like, even
No.
Seth Rollins was still on the come up in 2014. It could be that he was still in the Shield at that point, depending on what point in the year we're talking about.
No, Seth was the Shield was very much a team when
Okay,
CM
yeah.
Punk left. Yeah.
So he wasn't making Seth Rollins money now. He certainly was not making CM Punk money at that point. And so the idea that Punk thought it was a good idea to try and like get his friends to leave with him, that is selfish, because he understood that they weren't in the same position as him, and then some kind of deciding in that moment, because they didn't follow him, even if they did privately show support for him, which we don't know, but I assume they did. Maybe they didn't. That was when he went on the 10-year bashing spree, trying to take the company down, blah, 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 blah. And I don't think anything is wrong with what Seth said. People are thinking that he sounds so bitter. He sounds like a crybaby. He sounds like this and that, because they're trying to twist it into Seth saying something that he didn't. He's not saying that, Punk wasn't justified in why he left. If we're talking about Punk left because of the staph infection and this and this and that, he doesn't even talk about that.
He doesn't talk about any of that. The whole point of what he's talking about is basically to give substance to why he and Punk are feuding, because it has not been explained on WWE programming, at least on live programming. And this is why going on interviews like CVV, Busted Open, you could kind of say Fightful, but that's more newsy. I don't know. That's more wrestling newsy. But more Busted Open and CVV, because those types of interviews give you the chance to, go into a little kayfabe with some reality. You can explain things that the, wrestling fan who just joined or whatnot didn't know before. And it's like, oh, okay, I know they hate each other, but why? All right, well, it's because, they actually were a mentor. He did this, the other aspect to this whole story about CM Punk and connecting it was that Rollins was obviously, Punk's mentee, but the Shield was supposed to be Punk's bodyguards. The whole vision for the Shield was to be the bodyguards for Punk so that he could beat guys like Ryback. And I think it was even teased that it was supposed to last until the Undertaker feud, at Mania. So and then it went into the other direction because Seth Rollins Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley had star power, and Roman Reigns had the look of star power, just needed to learn.
Thank you.
There's just a lot of that there's a lot of that to unpack that you do not have the time to do on a 3-hour Raw or even 4-hour Raw for Netflix. Like, doesn't matter. There's just not enough time, and interviews like this make it possible. And it's not Seth being a crybaby or whiner. It's just him telling his side of the story.
Well, and I think it also explains, like you said, their mindsets in this feud. Why Seth feels betrayed, or why he has such negative feelings towards Punk, and why Punk doesn't feel the same, because he either never considered Seth to be like that close of a friend, or he doesn't think that he really did behave that way, or he didn't feel like he expected his friends to join him. Like there obviously there's a different interpretation of what happened here. And again, like you said, it's kind of towing the line of being like, is this wrestling? Is this real life? Like, you don't really know. And I think that's what's good about these kinds of interviews, because you don't know. So kayfabe is not always dead. But I do think there was the other thing too. The reason I got frustrated was people calling him a crybaby is because he talked about how he has never really been the guy. And he talks about how, Roman became that guy. He was like handed the keys to be the guy. And then he said, and then Cody came back and he was kind of given the keys to be the guy. And people were arguing with me about how that's not true. And I'm like, how is it not true? Like, if we were looking at the Shield, and I believe we've talked about this before.
We have. I know we have on this channel.
If you look at the Shield, the easiest person that would be a star immediately was Seth Rollins. He was a star every single week. Who was the weakest link in the Shield?
Roman Reigns.
And
It's
why?
not even close.
It's like, because he couldn't talk. That's why they never.
He was the muscle. It was just he was the muscle.
And he wasn't like overly athletic in the ring. You know what I mean? Like, his style obviously is because he's a bigger dude, but he wasn't as much as like
Rollins jumping off the shit. Like,
exactly. But then Moxley isn't like, I mean, necessarily.
No, he's a technician. He was more Matt guy that is just brutal.
He had the personality because he was like weird. You know what I mean? So yeah, all of that. Yeah. So
I could do a good Jon Moxley.
And you already said it too. Like, Roman was basically picked to be the guy because he's 6'4", 250, unique looking. He is the typical, guy that Vince wants to push to be the face of the company. Seth has never been the face of the company. I don't know why people think that he has been. He hasn't been.
He hasn't.
And then even when, there was a chance for that to change, it didn't, because Roman was then champion for almost 40 years. Cody Rhodes comes back and is immediately the guy. And it's like, Seth has always been number 2. I don't see why that's so controversial to say, but
I don't.
Apparently it's
because, Sara, I've said this before, but sometimes the peeps lack the ability to critically think. And we cannot help them. They have to help themselves.
This isn't true, though. This is not true. Because this is the thing. No matter if you are... just because you're champion does not mean you're the face of the company. Are we saying Gunther's the face of WWE?
That's basically what I was going to say.
It's like, not, because there's always somebody that is treated differently than you. And we're saying, like, Seth Rollins might be a multi-time champion, but who was getting the match, the main events at Mania? It wasn't Seth Rollins. It was Roman Reigns. Like, that's the thing. It's kind of like if you were during the John Cena, Randy Orton era. Like, you were never going to peak over John Cena or Randy Orton. It just wasn't going to happen. And I think that's just what is happening with Seth. It's like, he said it multiple times. He unfortunately is in the Roman Reigns era of WWE. And there's like nothing you really can do to be bigger than Roman Reigns unless you were like Cody Rhodes, who just happened to come in at the right time and was an over the top babyface when Roman was at peak tribal chief. It's like that's the only way. So anyway, rant over. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. That basically, you're right. And for anyone who hasn't listened to that interview yet, go check that out. Chris Van Vliet. I would say friend of the show.
I would like to think so.
Acquaintance, at least. We've shaken his hand. I think we got a picture with him.
Us, but that's okay.
Everybody remembers Patty Pitt, Sarah. Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like a rule of life. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. All right. Well, what was the worst thing I saw in wrestling this week? Because there were a few things that I didn't like. I don't really have anything.
But that's good. I feel like.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a gut thing. Oh, wait. Hold on. Wait. Let me go back in our chat. Sarah, get to some comments, please.
Okay.
While I look for this, because I know I sent you something and was like, yeah, putting this in here because it's my lemon.
Okay. Nathaniel says John Cena was always the first face of WWE because he was the champion. I mean, to a degree, yes, but also John Cena was everywhere. He was doing the interviews. He was on covers of video games. Like, he was always the guy. But then obviously it depends on what era we're talking about, because if we're talking about like late 2000s, 2010s, it was Randy. But it was kind of like they just flip-flop based on, whatever we were talking about. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so my lemon, I found it because this really pissed me off this week.
Uh-oh.
Even though I said that Hulk Hogan appearing on Raw was my rosebud because he got booed out of the arena, and everyone, one of the few times in human history that the IWC is all on the same page.
Yep.
The WWE isn't, because they want to bring him back. Advertiser did an ad read for Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yes, it was during the show. It was during Netflix. The Netflix Raw. Yeah.
And it's said, per Mail Sport, there have been discussion next time Hulk Hogan appears on WWE programming, he will be a heel. Plans are for Hogan to be a quote-unquote bad guy again and help a future storyline with another wrestler. First off, when the fuck have you ever seen Hulk Hogan help another wrestler get over?
No.
Maybe Brock Lesnar is the only time I can think of willingly. He didn't even do it to the Heartbreak Kid. He didn't even put him over. So
he wouldn't put anybody over. It was like in his contract that he didn't have to.
No, he tapped out. I'm not kidding. The only people I think I've ever heard of him like putting over or letting him get the clean win are Kurt Angle, made him tap out, and then Brock Lesnar.
And I wonder why he allowed that with them.
Bingo, there it is.
Well, and I talked about this on TikTok. Like, I get if this is true, first of all, it's all alleged. But if this is something that they're actually thinking about, they're way more out of touch than I thought they were. Because I understand the idea of going with whatever the crowd is into or what they're not into and leaning into that. Obviously, that the crowd reaction plays a huge role in professional wrestling. However, this goes beyond that. Like, this isn't just, they're in liberal California and that's why he's getting booed. He's been booed in his home state. You know what I mean? Like,
he's booed everywhere. Did you hear the Mark Henry comments that he said?
What Mark Henry said? Yeah. So that's the thing, is like, this goes a little beyond just, let's put him, make him a bad guy and everything's going to be fine. Like, that's not it.
Yeah, Ramiro. Say that one back. Say that one back. He put over The Rock. All right, like, no.
He's not going to come in there. The thing is, he's not going to come in and put over like Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? Like that. If you bring in a guy like Hulk Hogan and you're going to try to use like his influence to like help put a guy over, it would need to be somebody that needs to be put over, you know, and that's not something that he's going to do. He's not going to come in and put over Austin Theory, you know, it's just not going to happen. So I don't think that this is a great idea. I mean, there was even a rumor too that they're talking about bringing in Ric Flair.
Oh, that was my other lemon. Thank
and it's
you,
just
Sara.
like,
That was
bro,
my other
why
lemon.
though? But
I
also, how
love the music.
he doesn't work for WWE anymore. I don't even know if he has a Legends contract. Because he was doing stuff in AEW.
All I'm gonna say is it's Triple H's WWE.
Just weird.
I understand.
I'm not enjoying this ride.
No, that's where shit really did piss me off. Unless Hulk Hogan is going to get broken in half by Braun Breaker, I don't want to see him on my Netflix screen ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm sorry. Let me really get specific. Netflix, Peacock, YouTube. I don't want to see it.
USA Network.
CW. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it.
He can go to TNT or Max.
I would. Great. Even then, you know what? No, because I'm with my AEW peeps. I don't want to see him there. All right. I don't. Maybe like WrestleX Society. Do you know what that is?
No.
Look that up. Look up WrestleX Society. It is wild shit. I was watching it on Conman's YouTube channel. He was doing some watch along. Okay. So that's all our thoughts, our personal feelings about what we did and did not like this week. The bad guy. I do want to bring this up.
He said that it would be good for him to come in for them.
But I was gonna bring this comment just spurred another thought into mind that the New Day deserve a shout out this week because I do not think that it would be going as well as it is when you have two cast members of Boy Meets World even hating on you.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was very good.
I was embarrassed for everybody who was like, who is that? Like, what's a Topanga? I was like, oh, culture yourself. Culture yourself.
That's so tough. God, the kids today just don't.
I blame the parents. I blame the parents though, because I think it's more so of like you're not showing them things before their time. You know what I mean? Which is weird because it's like so many of them have not seen even like our generation of Disney movies, which is like weird to me.
That's weird.
Because like they're classics, they're good movies. It's not like, oh, I don't want to show you The Lion King because I want to show you the live action one instead. Like why though? Like I think it's that kind of thing. It's like we are culturing my nephew. Like the music that he listens to is a mix of now, but like a mix of the 2000s and like the 90s. Like he loves like System of a Down and like
because I was
in Britney Spears and whatever.
My niece and nephew bolted down my stairs here one day. I was playing Xbox, and you ever get in a mood where you just don't know what song to play? So you just hit shuffle. I took that to another level and just put on like a power hour mix. Like for any of the peeps here, minute long of each song, and you're supposed to drink in between, but I'm not drinking at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. So they bolted down, and he looks at my iPad and is like looking at the screen and listening to the music, and it's all pop punk. I'm like, I'm culturing you in Blink 182, Fall Out Boy, Good Charlotte, like Green Day. Like I am going to culture you because what is on right now is not it.
No, I know. Like I'm like my nephew really has like crazy taste. Like he was listening to the Cranberries the other day. He loves Backstreet Boys. He loves The Weeknd. It's like he's like in it's like a mix. The
Weeknd is one of the few artists right now where they're good, just not my cup of tea. Like I respect, like they put out good music, and
The Weeknd is one guy, by the way.
It is one guy. I don't know why I said they. I talk in personal, like in plural pronouns way too often. I should bring that up in therapy. I will. Okay. Anyways, that's a good segue to go around the Wrestleverse. Starting off with, I was saving this. want to say this. I want to talk about this with you, Sarah. That Kenny Omega returning to AEW television was one of my favorite things that happened this week, because he is one of the few guys outside of WWE that I believe all wrestling fans can appreciate as top tier. If he's not your GOAT, he's one of the greatest, type of thing. And at a time where AEW needs someone like him to, bring it back up and resurrect it a little bit, because they are getting a little off track. The match was great, whatnot, but there's still some loose ends they got to tie up with their title scene, blah, 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 whatnot. If it's not in the title scene, what are they doing with bigger matches? And All In's coming up. So you got to have your big stars for that too. And the way they're bringing him back, teasing the Ospreay allegiance a little bit, and with the whole Death Rider dictatorship, it makes me want to watch AEW a little bit more, instead of just tuning in because, yes, I like wrestling and I want to know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, and I saw, basically everybody was excited that he was back. And I think the main thing that stood out was like, he's in really good shape.
For someone who had diverticulitis,
I
yes,
know.
he's in fantastic shape.
And then didn't you see somebody else just said that they had been diagnosed with that as well? I just saw it was another wrestler that said that they got it too.
Really?
Can't remember who it was now. But anyway, yeah,
Oh, wow.
It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, okay, they were gone for however many months. Of course, they had a ton of time to work out and get in great shape, like when Cody came back at the Royal Rumble after being gone for 7 months.
Yeah.
But it's also like, yeah, but they also were dealing with a really bad injury or a really bad health scare. So the fact that they came back in like their best shape is pretty crazy. So
it's crazy because when you have a regular injury like Cody Rhodes with the pec, or just we'll say for example purposes a torn ACL or something, it's something physical. You rehab it, you go through PT, blah blah blah. But with an illness, an actual sickness like diverticulitis, to come back is wild, because you could lose your life, not just your wrestling one. And it just shows how much Kenny Omega, not only the character but the person, I don't know his real name off the top of my head, but loves professional wrestling. That makes you want to be a wrestling fan, and it's guys like that we need to bring this into pop culture, not just because it's WWE, but because it's all of wrestling is a lost art.
Kenny Omega's name is Tyson.
Tyson, I knew that began with a T. I knew.
So weird. He's a Kenny. I don't know what they mean. I hate when wrestlers start to look more like their wrestling name than their real name.
Oh, 100%. It's gonna really throw me off when we get big and try to meet these people and friendly with them, and I'm like, do I call you by your wrestling name or real name?
I from what I've seen from others, from some wrestlers who have been asked this before, it's like for the most part they don't really care because they respond to both. I mean, obviously, if you're going to be friends, real life friends with somebody, you're not going to go around being like, hey, what's up, Seth Rollins? You'll call him Colby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
well, they mentioned Colby. They said Colby on Raw and Netflix.
Yeah. So I think, it's just, it depends. But I think if you're just casually, I mean, it's why they respond, because it becomes second nature. So
you have to definitely.
Yeah.
Nature. I know that's not his real name, but it's definitely his name for AEW. Not anymore. It's Malachi Black. It's been rumored that he is officially done with AEW and basically WWE bound. I don't believe that is real news. I feel like that's just the internet going crazy.
Because his wife is in WWE. That's basically the only reason.
But I would say Triple H being in charge too definitely is a bigger reason.
Yes, but I think the biggest thing is Zelina. That's what it is. Yeah.
It's just, but I don't, Sarah, what do you think about this? Because I don't really have any definitive thoughts on this, except, I'd love to see it. It's great, but it's not I don't know yet. It's all just talk.
Yeah, I don't really feel strongly about him one way or the other, you know. Obviously he's like really interesting and interesting
Oh,
looking.
he's awesome. Yeah, he's
He's
awesome in the ring.
we never really got to see what he could be on the main roster because he was fired like we didn't like just abruptly. So I mean obviously that is interesting. And I think that if he were going to be successful on the main roster, then now is the time because this is a guy that is definitely a Triple H dude, you know, not a Vince guy at all. Um, I think my only concern would be um if they're going to kind of try to lean into the darker aesthetic with him, more of the mysterious kind of character or whatever, Triple H hasn't shown us yet that he's good with booking those types of people. You know what I mean? Like we haven't seen him be super successful with that beyond the Wyatt Six, and even then the Wyatt Six are like their own entity because they're going to be treated differently and booked differently because of who they are and why they're a group. And so like they're treated with a little bit more priority, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I think other people who have had similar characters to Malachi or Alistair, whatever you want to call him, like I just don't I'm not sure that I 100% believe that like Triple H would do right by him. So that's would be more of my concern for him. It has nothing to do with fandom. It's more of like, is WWE the right spot for him in what he wants to do? Like if he wants to kind of continue with what he was trying to do the first time around. I'm just not sure that Triple H would do what he wants to do the right way, if that makes any sense. Like I don't trust that yet.
I don't know if there's a definitive spot for him yet, but
Wouldn't it be a
whatever
bad
he
addition to
does,
NXT?
he wouldn't. He'd be a really
Revamp
good
that
one.
career in NXT.
Yeah, he's got that darker side that, you know, you could see him align. The only allegiance I could see is like Karrion Kross or
But see,
similarity, but that's too much.
that's where my immediate mind goes to, because even Karrion is not.
Not as dark. I mean, he is, but they do. Oh,
that's not what I mean. I meant more of he's not on TV every week. He's not getting matches every single week. Like he doesn't have like super involved storylines.
His character is very much protected. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm saying like that would be my concern for Malachi / Alistair. Is like I would be concerned that they would like promise him something and then they don't follow through with it, because like look at other people in the company who have similar characters or gimmicks or whatever. They're not treated like that much better than what he's trying to leave. You know what I mean? So that would just be, I mean, and then of course Zelina's like not on TV every single week and stuff. So it's like
she's trapped in the LWO vortex.
Yeah. So
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But Becky Lynch to Raw and Charlotte Flair to SmackDown per Cultaholic reported today. So to me, this just seems pretty obvious.
Yeah, that's not news. I feel
it's not news, but it's not news, but it is something we'll just mention on the show because we have to, you know.
I think it makes sense. I mean, it's sticking to their brands. There's not going to be any sort of unnecessary explanation about why one is moving to the other brand or whatever. I don't hate it. I think it's more about what we said before, where SmackDown needs to lighten their locker room of top women. So whether that comes before Mania, whether it comes through the draft, whether they do a few trades, like we already saw, they kind of hinted at Bayley moving to Raw.
I did see. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. Then that's fine. This doesn't really change anything because this is what we already expected anyway. Becky was on Raw before she took her hiatus, and Charlotte was on SmackDown before she got injured. So it's like, yeah, of course they're gonna go back to those brands, like you know. And we already know they're probably just gonna put Charlotte on Tiffany. And we don't really know what they're
Or
going to do with
Jade.
Becky or Jade, but Jade's not back yet. So we'll have to see where that goes. But don't know what Becky's going to do, but obviously we'll be waiting. So.
Bad guy thinks that Becky should be coming for Liv.
That's what I think too. And I feel like it just bums me out because I really would have loved to see them feud over the championship. That makes so much more sense in my brain because Liv took it from Becky. So it's like that is how that should have gone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they could have even had it become a triple threat at Mania where it was Liv versus Becky versus Rhea. Like how sick would that have been?
That would have been pretty cool.
And if that was how they wanted Rhea to win, so be it. But it's like I as great as it will be to see Becky face Liv, I just wish that it would have involved a title instead of her just coming back and like seeking revenge over the title that she just lost to Rhea. Like I don't love that idea, but
how good has Toni Storm's new rookie character been? It's been fantastic, Sara, if you don't know, because what she's been doing with this whole, it's my new day and it's my first day, and I just want to make a name for myself. And even when she got pinned by Chris Statlander, Renee's interviewing her backstage, and you expect it's Toni Storm. She just lost to Chris Statlander. That's a huge win for Chris Statlander. But Toni Storm's like, Chris Statlander's great. Like she's putting her over in the character. And it's something that I think is going to get lost on by a lot of just like casual wrestling fans or, not as intense as you and I will say, is that by her doing this, it's kind of an oxymoron because while she's like the rookie trying to get her name out there and become a star and, get over, we'll say, she's putting other people over.
Yeah.
Because she's saying that she has less experience than like Willow Nightingale or Julia Hart, like those types of superstars, or Deonna Purrazzo, they never met before. Okay. Like that sort of thing is something that not many people, not just, female superstars, male people can do. And her creativity and just the character itself, it's been absolutely incredible to watch.
What do you think the end game is? Like, because I kind of wonder if this is like, I don't know, maybe this is just I don't know, wishful thinking, I guess. You would think that maybe the end game is her versus Mariah May, right? Because that's kind of what kicked off this whole new persona of hers because she lost the championship and whatever. What I think would be really interesting is we find out all of this was an act. Because the whole thing, right, when she was Timeless Toni Storm was that she was being like an actress from, the old Hollywood and whatever. What better way to continue that than putting her in modern times? And she's pulling off this like amnesia gimmick.
Yeah.
And the only way that she reveals that it was an act or she is somehow relieved of her amnesia is a match against Mariah May. Like all of it was just a hoax to kind of like make up for all the wrong that she did to all the girls when she was Timeless Toni Storm. And the whole point was to work her way up to get back to Mariah. And maybe the end game is that she wins the title back from her. But in that moment, she reveals it's been me this whole time. I don't know. I feel like that would be really interesting.
Some way like that. I want to see a moment where if she does have amnesia, if it's not like it's been me all along, if she truly has, amnesia and needs a hit on the head or something.
Yes.
To, bring her back to reality.
What if Mariah does that? You know what I mean?
She hits her with the shoe.
Yeah,
like if she hits her with the shoe or something, like that would
so
be
cartoony,
incredible.
but like so cool.
But it works.
It works for this. Like if that were some other, involved in some other more like serious character, then you would be like, that's corny. But like
but
a lot of her timeless stuff was like cheeky, corny, over the top, like over exaggerated, whatever.
Yeah.
So that feels like that would be pretty funny, you know, of like Mariah is just kind of like not taking her seriously during the match and it's like, I can do whatever I want, blah blah blah, like look at me, like disrespecting her, and then ironically it's like she like cured her of her amnesia and then loses the title. That'd be pretty cool.
Chin up, tits out, watch for the shoe.
Yeah,
how is that incredible?
You heard it here first, fellas. If I predicted it right.
Sarah, if you predict that, I swear, we're just gonna have to get you a crystal ball at that point. Alexa Bliss, rumored to be returning soonish to WWE television. I don't care when, I don't care how, it just needs to be done. Alexa Bliss needs to be on WWE, one of their rosters at this point.
Raw.
Obviously,
in my opinion. Yeah.
And I would likely say the same because I want to see her involved with the Wyatt Six in some way, shape, or form. And with WrestleMania looming, there needs to be more names like hers on the card and whatnot. I think it's there. Perfect.
Yeah, I kind of people when this, because this was going around today, so this was bringing up like, okay, what version of Alexa Bliss are we going to get? And I kind of like, I don't really know what I want. I think the initial reaction from a lot of people was, yeah, Wyatt Six, right? Because then there was also, I don't remember who said it or if it was just a rumor or whatever, that the Wyatt Six was not meant to be only 6, because obviously the Wyatt Six is not 6. It's like you're sick. So Bray allegedly, and I don't know how true this is, did not want to limit the group to only 6. Obviously it's 5 right now anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I like, obviously that intrigues me because she was so heavily involved in the Fiend and the development of this entire character that obviously led to the Wyatt Six. But I wouldn't necessarily be mad about her returning to like the Goddess or something. I think it just, I don't really care. I kind of feel like she should choose at this point. She's been gone for so long that I think she should have the right to be like, okay, what version of you do you want to come back? Plus, you also have to take into consideration like her emotional mindset about potentially joining the Wyatt Six. Maybe that's not something she wants to revisit. Just because Bo and Eric and everybody else is like comfortable with doing it, it doesn't necessarily mean that she's there yet. Obviously, she had a close relationship with Bray, so it, depending on how she mourned it and how she's dealing with that, she might not want to be involved in that. So I hope that people don't pigeonhole her to that, because I almost feel like getting more of the authentic Alexa Bliss, we might get the better version of her, you know, like in ring and character wise. Like she won't be so limited in what she can do and being on television.
Yeah, I want it. She should have her own decision there. I like so. All right. This one I'm interested in because last week at New Year's Evil, Trick Williams and Roxanne both lost their respective world championships to Obafemi and Julia. Great matches, by the way, they were. And to me, it seems that these two are going to get the call up to the main roster. Roxanne Perez, obviously, I would say, more ready than Trick Williams is for the moment. And Roxanne would be a sneaky wild card to throw on the main roster, prepare, like getting ready for Mania season.
I think, okay, so if you think about how where they were at this point last year, they were kind of in a similar situation with both the men's and women's championships. And that was what inevitably led to Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes. Obviously, that's when Carmelo eventually got called up. I think that that's where we're at. I think that we're going to see the end game between these 4, well, 2-on-2, happen at Stand and Deliver. I think that they're going to draw it out until then, and then they'll probably get called up in the draft. That's my guess. They might tease them in the Royal Rumble just to kind of gauge like the reaction that they'll get from the main roster audience.
Mhm.
But I don't think that this is over between them. Like Julia and Roxanne have been going back and forth for a little bit longer.
And Roxanne's going to want a rematch, obviously. So yeah, this isn't just one and done.
Yeah,
There's
so
going to be a little bit of a month, but
yeah, so I think it's going to come to a head. Like the final match where they retain the titles will be Stand and Deliver, and then we'll see them get called up after that, which I feel like that if that's what happens again this year, then that's just going to be what NXT does, where it's like, okay, these people have been champions for this long, or okay, we've seen enough from these ones that they can get called up if they're ready for it, and then we'll move on to like the next generation, if you want to say, which kind of feels like that's what Julia and Oba are, which neither of them really need this necessarily. I would say Oba needs more polishing than anything, because obviously Julia's a star. Like she doesn't necessarily need shaping and developing from NXT, but there's nothing wrong with keeping her down there for another year, or she is somebody that could also just be brought up to the main roster for no reason. Like she doesn't necessarily need it to be the draft.
Yeah, I don't see Julia being called up either.
I don't think that's soon.
I think they're gonna really want to build Julia and Stephanie Vacour as the two faces of the women's division of NXT, and you want to build your look at the women's division on NXT. If you watched New Year's Evil, the women were the first hour and change of the show, and a good hour and change with the matches. Even the NXT women's what is it? NXT United States Women's Championship. That whole title picture, North American, thank you. North American Championship held by Fallon Henley. That whole title picture is very entertaining to watch right now. You got Lola Vice too. Like there's a lot of good pieces there. Make them the two faces of it.
I think the thing is, it's kind of like what NXT is dealing with, a lack of star power, I think, right now. Like last year they lost a lot, by bringing up Mello and bringing up Braun Breaker and losing Tiffany Stratton. Like they lost Pretty Deadly. Like they lost a lot of their top people. And so they're still dealing with it, I think, because obviously we have to remember they're a developmental brand, so it's going to take time for people to become the top of the roster. And so I think that moving on from Julia that soon is doing more harm to their women's division, because if you look at it, it's like a lot of the girls that are like mid-card or whatever, they're not there yet. Like they can't hold down the women's division in NXT on their own. And I would argue the same with the men. Like they're not quite there yet. So I think that's why they'll stay a little bit longer, because you want to continue to let those others grow, but you also don't want to put yourself in a really shitty situation by moving on from like your headliners, because we also have to remember the main rosters are stacked. So
it's the most stacked it's been in a very long time.
Yeah, so moving on from them, that might help NXT, but it doesn't necessarily help the main roster if they can't figure out how to use them. So, I think they'll hold on to Julia for a little bit.
I think they should, and I think they will. Yeah, Sara. Saw this one today. Even tagged you in a quote tweet. I don't think you liked it yet.
No, I didn't acknowledge it.
You didn't acknowledge it?
No.
Okay, well, Bernard did.
Yeah, I saw that.
Gunther versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania 41 for the World Heavyweight Championship is being rumored right now. I know I can just feel you want to just pop off like a tea kettle, because you definitely have stronger opinions on this than I do. So, Sal, how about you just pop off there? How about you just pop off?
Well, so my main issue, of course, is consistently just giving Logan Paul these matches. Like, because to me, I understand that he is universally hated. He's already come in and said what he's going to do. I'm going to come in and I'm going to demand these matches and I'm going to get them because I can do what I want. However, I still think that that kind of is a problem because then why do people have to become a number one contender? If you can just come in and say, I'm getting a match with you, okay. Why does Logan get to do that when he's a part-timer, shows up 3 times a year? He gets to come in and say what matches he's getting, but these people who are here every single day, they can't? Doesn't really make a lot of sense. Fair argument for everybody who's like, I should be getting a world heavyweight title match, not Logan. I think when we're talking about the match between these two would be great. If we're talking about like a feud, this is like the easiest feud ever for Gunther because it's like if he's going to stick to having respect for the sport and the passion for it and how much it means to him, like this is so easy for him to use that against Logan because Logan doesn't treat it this way, right? However, I think that if Gunther is going to go into WrestleMania as the World Heavyweight Champion, he needs to have a proper feud with someone who is there every single week. I don't want him to be feuding with some guy that shows up maybe twice in the 2 months before Mania. I think we've talked about this and I've said it many times that one of my biggest gripes with Gunther so far as World Heavyweight Champion is that they're not giving him real feuds and real storylines. He's not really doing a whole lot. And I'm like, okay, and then you're just going to give him another a match with a guy that doesn't show up so he can't have any sort of consistency every single week to build up a feud. Like, not to mention, this would mean they're making Gunther babyface. He's not going to get booed more than Logan Paul. I find that very hard to believe.
No, I don't mind this because the match itself is going to be great and there's potential there. But when it comes to what you're talking about, yeah, long-term feud in a sense and a good rivalry to solidify your title reign, this isn't it. It just I would like to see this. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't really care. It just sucks because there are a lot of guys on the roster right now who Gunther feuding with would make more sense, like a Finn Balor, even honestly a Dirty Dom. You could do Dirty Dom and Gunther, and it would be a better story than Logan Paul versus Gunther, which is just the issue when you have star power like Logan Paul and whatnot, and you have Vegas and WrestleMania in Vegas and Netflix. It's those things are going to trump it sometimes. It just sucks.
Well, and the thing for me is I get that Logan Paul brings eyes, but I also am just like, he shows up so sparingly. Like, how many eyes is he really bringing? First of all. Also, we were just talking about this also when we were talking about like The Rock for Mania and whatever. Like, WWE is not in a position where they need to rely on a Logan Paul to get eyes on the product or for people to watch WrestleMania. I also don't think that Gunther is some scrub or no name in professional wrestling that they need to attach Logan Paul to him to get people to care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that he's that guy. I also don't trust that if they put Logan in a WrestleMania match for the title that they wouldn't give him the title, because like, how many matches are they going to put him in that he loses? I find that hard to believe that Logan would be.
Cool no. Gunther would win the match at Mania. No. That's an.
I'm just
not
interested.
It's not negotiable.
At the end of the day, okay. A babyface Gunther, not into it. Okay, can you go full-fledged heel with Gunther before you decide to turn him babyface?
No, I don't think Gunther can be babyface. I'm sorry, I don't think he can. He's not.
I think that he's one of the few that I feel like always has to be a heel or as a tweener. He could never be full-fledged babyface. Like, it's just not. It's not even that I don't think he could do it. I think he could. But when you look at him, he's a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, you don't look at him and be like, oh yeah, he's a nice guy. He's gonna go shake the hands and like of moms and dads and kiss babies and sign autographs. Like, that's not what he would.
He told Cody Rhodes that he does not do that.
Well, he made fun of Chad Gable's daughter.
He did.
So I don't.
Did you just do a little?
Yeah, because fuck her. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about her tears. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think there's better stories they can go with. What those are, I don't know, but I think they're better than Logan Paul.
This should be a good story. This should be a very good story. Also, floating around today that John Cena and Cody Rhodes is the alleged plan for WrestleMania 41, and it has been the said alleged plan since November. Sarah, I think I've been saying this since May when he announced his farewell tour that we're going to see Cody Rhodes and John Cena at Mania. It's the only thing that makes sense if we're not going to continue this bloodline story with Cody. If we're going to separate Cody from the bloodline, it only makes sense to put him in a match like this against John Cena. And I think it goes with your take about John Cena not being, I think it goes with your take of John Cena's quest for the record. You know, if he goes up against Cody Rhodes, of course he still thinks he has it, whatnot, but loses. And vice versa, it only strengthens Cody Rhodes champion because he passed torch.
This is the ultimate passing of the torch. This is very similar to what you could say Hogan Rock Cena, right? Like this would rival that, I would say.
Not right. It's the next step.
Yeah. I would argue that this might be one of the biggest matches like in WrestleMania history, if you really think about it, even potentially bigger than Roman Cody, because of how much impact this match would have. We're talking about John Cena, who is the face of WWE for nearly 20 years. And we're talking about the current face of the company, obviously one of them, if we're going to be fair. But who everybody thinks is essentially being groomed to be this era's John Cena. So to have them go against each other, have neither one of them be the bad guy, have this be like, you know, the guy from the past and the guy now, like, that's huge. Like, the implications of this are huge. And if we're talking about like, wanting there to be easy advertisement, whatever, what's better than John Cena, who has a reach far beyond professional wrestling, and Cody Rhodes, who's like the biggest star in professional wrestling right now, going against each other?
I can't think of a bigger match.
And then you also think of, okay, Cody has been champion for a year. That's a huge deal. He's going against John Cena, who's trying to get 17. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much that can go into this that I don't necessarily love it. However, I do like that Cody would probably retain, because I do think Cody needs to lose to somebody else. I don't think Cena would also want to beat Cody. I don't think he would want to do that. I just think that this is like almost too good to pass up on. Like, I'm not even thinking about Cody Rhodes versus The Rock if you give me John Cena versus Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, no, I'm not thinking about Cody Rhodes versus The Rock at all. I don't even care about their interaction on Netflix because we got this. And this feels more in line with Cody Rhodes' championship story, and I would say the future of WWE, rather than Rock versus Cody Rhodes. That seems more. And
this then continues another quest of Cena trying to get 17. You know what I mean? So it's kind of almost like a mirror image of what we saw at 40, because we're trying to see Cody just win it for the first time. A year later, he has it still, and now he's facing a guy who's trying to like set a new record by having it be his 17th, you know? And I think that is really interesting. And then, of course, Cena losing makes it even more interesting because it's like, okay, Cody retained it over who he was trying to be and who he's essentially become. And now Cena, what does he do from here? Will he win 17? He couldn't beat Cody. Like, what is he going to do? You know,
Makes
so.
that much more interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm into it.
I'm for sure. I mean,
You, um, I
no,
don't, I don't hate it, but I also don't think it's necessary. I think in this match, like this is the type of match that I don't think you would need to have a good guy and a bad guy necessarily. And I don't know that anyone would get booed. I think that there might be more cheers.
Cena will get booed. What are you talking
I
about?
don't know if
Let's
he'll
go,
get booed.
Cena.
Maybe.
Sucks.
But I think that we're also at a point where there's not really people doing that. I think it would just be more of like who's getting cheered for louder. I think that's kind of what it would be. Like it's not necessarily boos, because I don't know what you're booing. You know what I mean? You're booing somebody retaining the title or you're booing somebody winning 17. Like what exactly are you mad about? I think it would be more of like who's getting cheered louder. Who are the fans supporting more?
I'm gonna blow
It's
the
gonna be like
roof off the
millennials
place.
versus like Gen Alpha. That's like what it'll be like.
Oh,
The millennial superhero and like Gen Z Gen Alpha superhero like clashing. That's like what it would be.
I'm interested. That's gonna be really fun. That's gonna be really fun to be a part of.
That makes it a little bit more exciting, I think, for WrestleMania 41 because like it's nice that you don't really know what's going to happen at this point, like we did last year. But I think that like there was a lot of what we thought was going to happen this year that you kind of just don't care about anymore. So if that were going to be what it was like, like you're not that excited about it. But this is like, this is a little bit more of like, okay, yeah, if this was it, then that's fine. That's cool.
Like I don't care for the continuation of the bloodline story with Cody Rhodes anymore because of how perfect the main event of WrestleMania Night 2 was and where we are now. It seems like we're going a step backwards and trying to revisit nostalgia again when the whole point of the Night 2 main event was to move on and move forward with the company into the future. This feels more like a future type of match than Rock Cody.
Yeah, I think the only thing that anyone will care about from this is whenever we get Roman versus Cody, like the rematch for the title. I think that's the only thing that I like. I'm like, okay, like, and I don't even care that much, but at least it's like, okay, no, we were waiting for that, round 3. That's the only thing.
Rock and Roman isn't dead though.
I don't believe this.
Do you want to like they're saying that Rock Roman is not dead and that it does not necessarily need to happen at a WrestleMania.
I don't believe that. I think that if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it at WrestleMania. They just need to know from Brock a lot sooner that he can be at Mania, and then he also needs to dedicate himself to training again because he's not going to have a tag team partner to rely on. He's not going to have tribal combat rules necessarily to be able to like slow things down because he's using a weapon. So he doesn't really have to do wrestling moves, for 25 minutes or whatever.
And the drama. Yeah, it's more.
That was more theatrical than like technical, So I think that if he's able to dedicate himself to that, then it's on. There's no way they would pass on being able to like advertise Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania 42. You know what I mean? I don't think they would want to do that at a SummerSlam. They're going to want to do that at a WrestleMania. But I do think they kind of killed it based off of what they had him do at Netflix. So.
And then what he did at NXT, because his NXT promo was, Final boss. Say, it was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So I like, that's the thing. And that's where my initial feelings came from when watching it live, was that it felt like we were getting Dwayne Johnson Hollywood for, on Netflix, with how he was treating Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, putting them over essentially. and name dropping, where NXT, it felt like he was going back into, wrestling mode and wrestling mind, where it's like, oh, this is a wrestling environment. I got to turn on Final Boss now.
Mhm.
And as I would say, one of the biggest Rock fans, I didn't mind it. I don't care. But the product is so good right now with everything else that my feelings for it, I'm not as upset or as, conflicted and like, outraged at this difference in character to me, because it's just like, all right, we're going to get this Rock one night and we're going to get this Rock another one based on the atmosphere of the crowd and the atmosphere of what the event is. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't take away from the product as a whole because of how on fire things are right now.
I think the problem is that's not the universal reaction from the fans. Like,
the fans are
but
dense sometimes.
Yes, but I also don't think that they're entirely wrong. I mean, the last time we saw The Rock, he was final boss. He was making like threatening gestures at the bloodline. Like, it was still very much like, okay, business is not done. We're going to see this come to fruition. What is the end game? And then the next time we see him, he's, like I said, kissing babies, hugging people, talking about Cody Rhodes drinking on Instagram Live with Cody. Like, what are we doing? And then 24 hours later, he's back to being the final boss. So it's like, we're in an era of wrestling fans, because of social media, that they're very smart, and this kind of stuff doesn't like go over very well, because it's like we don't have the like blind fandom anymore of like before the internet, where like you believed, the Undertaker really was a dead man, and like Kane really was his brother, and Hulk Hogan really is like this gigantic superhero. And so seeing a guy like flip-flop like this still kind of like messes with you, because you're like trying to get invested, but then it's like, okay, but what is happening here? This doesn't make sense. Like, even if I understand it from a business perspective, I shouldn't have to be thinking that way when I'm watching the show. I'm tuning in to watch wrestling and to see characters, and I'm seeing a real guy here, and the next night I'm seeing his character. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And I don't know. I don't love it.
Okay. I can't change it. I like it. I like it. It's
fine.
nice.
There's probably other people that agree with you.
Let's see what the comments think.
Okay.
Let's see what Nathaniel loved Rock in NXT, so that's good. Where's this? Unless we get another writer's strike, we're not getting it. That's the only reason The Rock had time off last year. Yes, but also you have to realize too, the climate in Hollywood right now for movies and streaming and whatnot, it's not the same as it was years ago. There is a lot of oversaturation there, and for Red One to do the numbers it did and then go straight to Amazon Prime, it means that The Rock doesn't have to dedicate his entire life to doing that type of thing anymore, and he can go back to wrestling, because that's what's hot. That is what's on the rise right now, and TKO and all that stuff. So he sees he can be more of a character and act in a sense with WWE and have more success with it than he would in Hollywood. Trying to see if there's anything else. Not really. So because we're kind of short on time, I'm not talking about Goldberg. So we're gonna go to the 1, 2, 3 count. All right. And
do you want to
starting
just
off,
do 120 questions for time?
Do you have somebody?
Yeah.
You do? All right, I'll let you go then.
Well, you have to ask me questions.
You know what? How about we do this? How about we're gonna just because I don't really want to do that. We're gonna do a 2 count fast count. So
Okay.
we'll do both our 20 questions, because I don't want to do this one that I did. I'll save it for next week. Because it's ranty. So we'll each take one of the 2, 3, whatever, for the Just go. Just give me your pick.
Well, I don't want to tell you my pick.
Oh my god. I'll guess. Never mind. Never mind. I said that wrong. I got flustered.
Okay.
Okay. Question 1.
Mhm.
Attitude Era.
Partially, yeah.
Okay. Were they known for being on Raw or SmackDown?
I don't think they were known for being on either, but probably more Raw. I don't know if when you look at them, you necessarily associate it with.
Okay. Long hair.
Mm-hmm.
Blonde.
No.
Oh. Long hair, not blonde. Male or female?
Well, we're talking about intercontinental champions. So,
Oh, okay. Okay, male.
Well, yeah, because China, was she ever intercontinental champion? She might have been.
I don't know, Sarah.
I think she was. But that's not who I'm talking about.
What? Oh, are they Latino?
No.
Oh, damn it, then Eddie Guerrero. That was my guess. That's the only person I can think of right now with not long blonde hair. Oh shit. Did they wrestle? Have they been a world champion?
No.
Oh, okay. Have they wrestled outside of WWE?
Yes.
Not known for that. Have they made? Oh, that would no, that wouldn't be a thing. Shit, why am I blanking on? It's not. I can't. Is it Al Snow?
No.
He definitely wasn't. That doesn't sound right. Al Snow is Intercontinental Champion. That doesn't sound right. Yeah, who can I think? Oh, no, I don't think. No, it's not JBL / Bradshaw.
No.
That's 10. Shit, I can't think of people. Did they wrestle in? Oh shit. I need some prompts here. Were they known for being a tag team at one point?
No.
How is their hair like really long?
I mean,
I'm stuck on that.
Yeah, it's not like it's like longer than the shoulders. Like
It's
below the
longer
shoulders.
It's below the shoulders.
Mhm.
Okay.
This is so funny.
Is it like really easy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is gonna be. It's not Triple H.
No.
Below the shoulders hair. Oh no. I give up. I can't think of someone.
You give up?
No, I don't want to give up.
Okay.
John Cena told me to never give up. Have they been a commentator?
No.
I'm sorry. I'm going to the. No, it's not Chris Jericho.
No.
I already thought that.
It hasn't been guessed in the comments.
Is it Road Dogg?
No.
X-Pac.
No.
Oh.
What are you at?
I'm at 16. Have they competed in Hell in a Cell?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Is it Kane?
No.
Okay, I got one more. I can't. It's Steve Blackman. I can't think of anybody. Who?
No. Okay, ready for me to tell you?
Yeah.
Hey yo.
Way too. I got way too in the sort of Attitude Era, but on the other end of it. Later 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so annoying. That's very annoying.
I was like, I picked the easiest person, bro.
I went. See, that's what happens. Okay. All right.
My turn.
Your turn for 2.
Okay. Do you have someone?
I will do this. Well, no, hold on. 2. I do have somebody.
No, I was okay. I was saying like Scott Hall. I was thinking Scott Hall was like kind of Attitude Era.
No. He was You're
That's all.
correct.
I wasn't cheating.
You bad Razor Ramon, Scott Hall.
Yeah, it's the same.
Tomato potato.
That's what I was including.
2. Okay. I have one.
Okay. Attitude Era?
No.
Before Attitude Era.
No.
After Attitude Era.
After Attitude Era.
Okay. We can count that as 3 if you want.
Yeah.
Long hair?
No. No hair. I'll give you that.
Bald. Bald?
Bald ass motherfucker.
A bald. Who is bald? Albert?
Later.
Who is bald? Okay, well, were they known for a tag team? Was he in a tag team at any point? No.
He was in a faction.
Okay. Was he always bald?
Yes.
Oh shoot. I was gonna guess Randy Orton. Bald Randy Orton.
Bald Randy Orton.
Always bald. Was he ever a world champion?
No.
So it's not Rey Mysterio.
It's not Rey Mysterio.
Okay. Who else was bald?
I'm gonna get you. Because you took my original person I was gonna think of. I thought of this person.
Is this during like the 20-teens?
Correct.
Okay. So that's like a very irrelevant era, but like my era.
It's the era you watched the most, yes.
I know, and I'm like, who was bald? Okay, so they were known for a faction. Okay. Oh, I'm such an idiot. This should have been the first person I thought of, but I think it's because you said after the Attitude Era. That's why.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Because I'm like, who's bald?
He's very bald.
Is was never world champion.
Never world champion.
Okay. It's not Bobby Lashley.
No.
He literally can't grow hair.
Can't do it.
Was the group around for a long time?
Not really.
Were you a fan of this group?
To be honest, Sarah, I did not watch this group.
Okay. Was I a fan?
Probably not. I'm gonna let you know. Probably not.
Have I met this person?
I don't know.
Okay, I was thinking about somebody, but I'm not sure. Should I guess anyway?
Yeah.
Skip Sheffield.
No.
Ryback.
No.
Oh.
I know Skip Sheffield.
No. Okay. I don't even know what I'm at, by the way.
You're close. All right, you're close with Ryback. Like that core era.
Who else was bald?
Sorry, I said like a really big hint twice, and you just didn't pick up on it.
No, I didn't. I don't know who else was bald.
There's a core piece to my
I catch what you're throwing down, but I don't know who was bald in the core.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Oh, the Big Show was bald, but you're not talking about the Big Show.
Bald. Jack Swagger was not bald.
No, he was not.
Check 1, 2.
Wait.
Get on your knees. What? Go. Nailed it.
Cesaro?
No.
Ezekiel Jackson?
Yes.
Is that who it was?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I was like, I'm trying to think of bald dudes. Okay, we need to hurry up.
We need to hurry up because, as my mentioned my Rosebud, we need to get going on that. So this is going to be
I need to do a thing for you.
Correct. Here's the thing, Sarah. We're gonna make this really short and sweet because
Yeah.
I don't need to describe the matches that you're booking. All right, because as we mentioned, you are GM of Raw now. As GM of Raw, you have been tasked with booking the women's title match for Survivor Series. Champion is Bianca Belair. And you had thrown together a match between Bayley and Becky for the number one contendership. Damage Control came in and interfered in that match. Same night as your match that you booked Trish versus Lita, which great job by you. And so what you do is, okay, I'm going to be the special ref in this match, okay? All right? So you're the special guest referee. Well, problem is your friend Geneva, old promoter of TBD, she got in your ear and said, you need to make a decision who you want in that match. You know, so you pick Becky because Becky's your girl, obviously. But you hit her with a fast count. It was too fast of a count. Too obvious that you wanted Becky as the number one contender. So Twitter's freaking out. Even Triple H is like, fix this. Send you a DM personally, like, you got to fix this. So it's like, oh, geez. You come up with an idea that night of a War Games match at Survivor Series between Becky Lynch and Bayley. They both will have teams. Winner of that match will become the number one contender for Bianca Belair's World Championship. Now, Shotzi's pissed because you came up with the idea. She came up with the idea for you guys to be part of. And now you have to choose, actually, who you want to team with, because both people asked you to be a member of their team, even though you are the acting GM.
You can't. You don't know who I would pick.
Well, no, I know who you'd pick, but for decisions like that, when they have like major implication to the story, that's not my job. It's not me. I'm just the manager. I'm just the champ of the peeps in the background, hyping you up. You need to make that decision, and because this is part of the show, who's your pick? Who are you teaming with?
Becky, hello.
All right, well, fantastic answer, because now by you teaming with Becky, you get to choose your team for War Games.
Yeah.
So we will have to tell you, and by you, I mean not only you, but the peeps, who is going to be on your War Games team.
So I get to pick?
Week. Yeah, the story will get to pick. I don't know who. I'm assuming Shotzi you're going to pick because, like, her idea and blah, blah, blah. But we'll see the list of superstars. I'll hit you up, and then we're going to talk about it on the show next week.
Alrighty.
Right. And that's a plan. That's the show. Thank you guys for tuning into this edition of No Nights Off. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell notification to know every time we go live and every time we post. That's going to be important because tomorrow we're posting that interview that I'm going to go do.
Yeah, no SmackDown breakdown.
No week. SmackDown breakdown. Oh, no Sunday?
I got to cover Sunday Night Football.
Oh, that's right. That's right. No
I'm
SmackDown
a big
breakdown.
Bucks fan, baby. This week.
My guy Baker. Talk up my guy Baker.
Got to do it.
And so because of that, we thought, you know what? We're trying new things in 2025. Let's drop an interview with the victorious one over at MLW to promote the show that he's on, King of the Coliseum, and specifically in his match the Gravity Gamble match for an opportunity at the World Championship. And it's a pretty big deal. He's fighting some pretty nasty people in that match, and I'm going to talk to him about it. So thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. See you next time.